Yo, yo, what's up, y'all? What's up, yo? We back for another episode of Akoye Knows Boxing. Shout out to all y'all that joined in last time. I was like not only tipsy but tired. It was in the middle of the night, so I did my best to give y'all the best play-by-play I could. And I think I stayed on for like an hour and some change, man. But we're gonna cut this one a little short, obviously, because it's Tuesday night. We got other content to do for my other channel. Speaking of which, those of you who are joining me from Akoye Media, make sure you follow Akoye Knows Boxing on YouTube. Just type in Akoye Knows Boxing and you'll see the page come up. Make sure you guys subscribe now. Take a moment to do that. I'll repeat that in a couple of moments just so you guys all know. But I expect to see all y'all there, man. Troy Dudley, you've been following me a while. Get over there. Dax on. I mean, you like a moderator by now, man. He said send Jalen Carter to prison. God damn. Warnock Spoo, go ahead over there. Make sure you guys follow that channel. That's the reason I'm going live from both so that you guys can spill over those of you who actually like boxing, who already know who I am. Mike Hayes, what up though? There's a lot of y'all in here, man, that's new to my boxing prowess. So you'll get an understanding for what we're talking about. But I'll let a few of you join in for a second and then we go on, man. Warnock said my Philly brother. What's up, man? So you must be somewhere around here. I'm a Jerseyite now, man. Like I think I'm uppity. I moved to Jersey last November and I ain't never come. Remember Harlem Nights where he said, yeah, put your mother on. It's me. Hey honey, it's me. I'm never coming home. That's me, man. I ain't never going back to Philly, man. I'll stay right here. I'll drive to Philly when it's time to do business. Like every day I'm there, but I don't want to live there no more, man. None for me. I like driving around with no guns. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? But let's get right into it, man. As you guys know, we watched the classic fight, a legendary fight Saturday when Terence Crawford took apart one of the best fighters that we thought pound for pound in the game in Canelo Alvarez. And that makes you think about the pound for pound rankings for real, because Canelo was deemed like one of the guys that you could argue like he up there, right? And Crawford made him look like he wasn't even supposed to be in the same ring, you know? And that speaks to a lot, man. Pat 1984, what's up with you, Brody? But that speaks to a lot. It just tells you that Crawford's game is on a level that a lot of us didn't respect, and it's not anyone's fault in particular, right? When you look at a guy who was protected kind of like by top rank, where there's always been, and if you're not privy to it, if you're a casual fan, and I don't say that with any pun intended, but if you are a casual fan, you'll realize that there are cold wars that go on in boxing, okay? And those cold wars lead to certain fighters not being able to fight each other. But getting into that fight and seeing that Crawford was able in the beginning, he established himself as a southpaw from the first bell. He said his coaches told him to do that. And what that did was create an angle advantage early in the fight, which made Canelo kind of chase Crawford for most of the fight. I got a gnat in my face, but he kind of chased Crawford for most of the fight, especially in the beginning. First 4 rounds, I thought that Canelo was landing the harder shots, but to the body. He hadn't landed to the head yet. But the shots to the body, which I thought was smart, invest in the body so you can slow the guy down and he'll stand in front of you late. The only gamble was if you don't incur any damage while doing that, if you're Canelo, then you're fresh going into the second half of the fight, right? So then when Crawford's wearing down and standing in front of you, you can still bang on him. You hit him on his arms, you hit him everywhere, and you can kind of slow the guy down. What he didn't anticipate was that once he started to land and build up some sort of damage in the body area for Crawford, he didn't anticipate Crawford damaging him in the process. And Crawford did a great job of like just reeling off combinations while Canelo was trying to do that and establish his body work. I think in the 5th round, at the end of the round, if it had happened a little earlier, maybe it changes the fight. But in the end of the 5th round, Crawford got hit for the first time with a clean right hand, right? I thought that dazed him just a little bit. He smiled. He kind of walked very slowly back to the corner. And I thought he's trying to make sure he doesn't wobble so that he doesn't appear to be hurt. He's hurt just a little bit. I don't think he was, stunned to the degree that he could have went down or anything, but I know he felt that shot. And his attitude, anybody who watches Crawford knows that his attitude after that shot tells you everything you need to know. In the beginning of the 6th round, he jumped on Canelo like a whirlwind. And when he did that, I don't think Canelo was prepared for him to go up in activity. He thought that this was the pace that we're fighting at. Crawford's going to move, fight off his back foot, kind of box, but he's kind of like playing it safe. He doesn't want to really get into an exchange. But then in the 6th round, Crawford came out and hit Canelo with everything he had in the very beginning of the round. And I don't think the fight was the same since then. Once he did that to Canelo, that was like a mid-tier level. That wasn't even his max. From between round 6 and 9, Crawford, you can say who won each round. I don't know, because those were the closer rounds were early in the fight, right? And then 6 through 9, I think you can give Canelo maybe one of those. I think the 7th round when Crawford kind of took off a little bit, he, he might have won that round. But for the most part, Crawford was trying to damage Canelo, and Canelo knew it. So he made Canelo gun shy, even when Canelo would cut the ring off successfully. You've never seen this in Canelo. If he cuts you off and you're on the ropes, you stay there, and he's going to try to end your night when he gets you there. Canelo was hesitant when he got Crawford on the ropes because every time he started a combination, Crawford would intercept that combination with his own combination or interrupt it. And you teach fighters to do that. They'll catch and shoot. So Crawford is a catch and shoot fighter. If you watch him fight Spence, same thing. He'll catch his shots, and right in between those shots, he starts to reel off his combination. He did that to Canelo in the 6th through the 9th round. And then he went up again. He went up even further in his activity from not rounds 10 through 12. So Crawford had like 3 stages of like Super Saiyan mode that he went through. You know, he went through Kaioken, Super Saiyan 1, and Super Saiyan God mode, all in the same fight, right? He just kept turning it up. And I just say that as like a good Dragon Ball Z reference, but you know what I mean. But that was how the fight went. And I think that's what shocked the world. It wasn't the fact that he won. It was how he did it. You know, it was the fact that he's like, hey, how is a guy who is supposedly much smaller, how's he going in and dominating Canelo like that and making a guy who's been punched by light heavyweights, punched by heavyweights and cruiserweights preparing to fight light heavyweights? How do you make that guy gun shy? And it's because he was just able to hit him clean whenever he wanted to. So hats go off to Crawford. I think he deserves all of his flowers and all the respect in the world for what he did in that fight, regardless of whether you're not your Canelo fan or a Crawford fan. I actually picked Canelo in that fight because I always think, it's an old boxing adage, good big man beats good little man most of the time. And that's still true, right? Because this is the hurt business. And in the hurt business, just face it, big guys hurt little guys, or they dish out more damage than a smaller guy. Usually. Crawford just made that. He made that a lie that night. All right. Pat 1984 says, Paul says, I agree with you on that. Pat 1984 says, man, that was old school boxing for real, for real. He also said Crawford giving his belts back and giving him so much respect shows the type of man Crawford is. I salute, bro. Well, yes and no. The belts go back to Crawford anyway. I mean, go back to Canelo anyway. Those belts are customized. So that's why he gave them back. He didn't give him his belts like I don't want the titles. He gets his own custom-made title. That's the way it goes. So just like you get your own custom-made Super Bowl ring, as a champion, you get your own titles customized to you. Those belts were customized to Canelo already. So Crawford took his titles, the belts themselves, the physical attributes, the physical specimen, they don't mean anything to him. So he gave those back. Okay, so yeah, he did. But it's still him actually being the guy to deliver them was a very kind gesture. You're right. Crawford has seen every punch and knows how to throw every punch from any angle. Pretty true. If you're talking about at this point though, after we all know what happened, right? But everybody's asking the question everybody wants to know is, what's next for Crawford? I mean, we can speculate. A lot of people want to see him fight Jaron Ennis. I would want to see him to fight Jaron Ennis. And everybody does this when a fighter gets to this upper echelon level, what I call the money level, right? I was just talking about this backstage. It's funny because they started talking. They just hit the mic and I was on mute. And the first thing I heard when we were doing the title was like, what's next for Crawford? So I thought they were asking me the question. So I kind of just went through this backstage with the producers and everybody, right? So it was fun. But what's next for Crawford, in my opinion, like he's at a point where he's reached that money status, right? And historically in boxing, this happens. It's like a torch, an unspoken torch that's passed to a boxer who beats the money guy, right? If you're the money guy and you lose to a guy, that guy, if he has anything in as far as skill or charisma, he becomes the money guy. You remember when De La Hoya was that guy, right? Um, well, Floyd Mayweather beat him. Once Floyd Mayweather beat him, he became the money guy. Before that, it was Shane Mosley who beat him. He was the money guy. You know what I'm saying? So, and then when he lost, I think he lost to Vernon Forrest. And then Vernon Forrest was like supposed to be the guy, and he lost, right, to Ricardo Mayorga. And then it's like, okay, we reshuffled everything. But De La Hoya had maintained that for a long time until I'm talking about 20, $30 million a fight. And everybody wanted to fight him because of that, right? And then Floyd took the torch. Well, that torch had got passed around after that. Like Gervonta is one of those guys. In the heavyweight ranks, is always money, but Gervonta is one of those guys. And for a long time, Canelo is one of those guys who can basically bless you by fighting you, right? Now that Crawford's beating him the way he beat him, Crawford can now fight almost anybody he wants that's in the top 10 and make 10 to 15 million. So what's next for him is whatever he wants to be next, he can do. And he can either continue his reign if he wants to, fighting guys. And this is what I would do: fight a couple guys that you know are good challenges, but beatable opponents so you can rack up some cash. And then fight, go out if you want to, in glory, in a blaze of glory, and fight Boots at that point. Let Boots mature a little bit. Let him fight a couple guys, and then, try to challenge him at 160 at one point, maybe a year or two down the line if he chooses to fight that long. If he doesn't, if he only has one or two fights left, I think it's obvious. If you want to fight one or two more times, if you can convince Canelo to get back in there for another ass kicking, go get that money and do that. I don't think anybody buys that fight due to the fact that it was so decisive. If you want, and I always say this, there's boxers and then there's prize fighters. Canelo is a boxer, is a fighter, right? A boxer or a fighter, right? So is Crawford. They just fight for the glory of it. Tyson Fury is a prize fighter. I mean, he knows how to cook up a bag. Floyd Mayweather's a prize fighter. He knows how to cook up a bag too. Because if you think about the first fight against Deontay Wilder, what made you watch a trilogy with those two guys? If Tyson Fury goes out and does what he could have done, which is just wash Wilder, because Wilder was just like a 1-2-3 fighter. Very easy to see his punches coming. And no one believes me when I say this, but if you go back and watch the first fight, Tyson Fury was never in any trouble in those fights. Even though he went down twice, he went down because he wanted to, because he's a genius. He was winning the fight on points. He went down twice because no matter how that fight ended, if it was close, you're getting a rematch. So it wasn't going to be close if he doesn't hit the ground. He hit the ground twice. He came up in the last round like the Undertaker. That's what sold the second fight. The second fight, he said, okay, I'm going to win this one, and I'm going to hit you in the head with an egg weight or something, because he dented his head up, right? So everybody's like, glove gate. The glove gate was so popular, we got to see it a third time. And then the third time, what did he do? He made it look like it should have looked from the first fight, which is he ain't supposed to be in the ring with me, right? If he did the third fight and the first fight, it will only be one fight, because you would never buy the second or the third. So there's prize fighters that understand that, how to sell a fight. Mike Tyson's one of those guys. Mike Tyson was much better at selling a fight than he was at actually fighting big fights. Mike Tyson didn't win any big fights. Every big fight he got into, he lost. But he sold the shit out of them. Better than Vandy Holyfield ever could. Better than Lennox Lewis ever could, because those guys are fighters, right? It's a different thing. And if you understand that, they're never going to admit it, but if you understand that, you can see how certain guys become a name. Like Ali was that type of guy. He can sell a fight. You have those types of guys that understand. It's not always because you talk. You have Matthew Saad Muhammad, who was really a great boxer. He's from Philly. Great boxer. But he would choose to sit on the ropes and let you slug on him because he was never in any real trouble. So, well, used to not being, but later in his career start catching up to him. But he would do that because he knew selling blood made it more exciting. We like to see blood. Arturo Gatti sell a hell of a fight without talking, because you knew he'll break his arm in a fight and hit you with the nub, and you like, shit. You know what I mean? So those are two different elements, right? I don't want to get too far off of the Crawford conversation, but Crawford is not a salesman. So he needed this type of status in order to sell fights. His skill has to sell, because he's not going to do it with his mouthpiece or charisma. Well, when you look at what's next, though, like I said, he could do whatever he wants. I want to see him fight Jaron Ennis, but he has the right to fight whoever he wants in between, man. Let me see what you guys are saying about what you guys think is next. Problem is he's 38, though. Yeah, he probably got like maybe 3 fights left, and that is over the course of 2 years. Never know. Depends on how active he wants to be. He said Crawford is. He said I thought everyone knew that. No, everybody doesn't know that. Crawford hand speeding combinations was just too much. Crawford's everything was just too much for Canelo in that fight. Just saying, when I smoke you in the ring, brother Akoye, all I'm giving you is a 2-piece and a biscuit, nothing more, nothing less. Damn, you don't want to come spar me, man. I'm an old man. I'm 42. But I'm trying to tell you, man, these hands still dangerous, man. I still got very fast hands and very good footwork. I'm talking about pros come to me to learn footwork, man. I teach pro fighters how to move in the ring. And that's when I was 270 pounds. I was teaching that. I'm a lean 228 right now, man. You don't want to see me, and I'm coming down. I get down to 200. You can come on, meet me in the gym, man. Meet anywhere you want. I got you. I'll spar you right away, right away. And I'm not even joking. I like sparring. I won't even be mad. I'm the type of guy that thank you for punching me in the face, if you can. It's very hard. I want to see him fight Benavidez. I don't think Benavidez is a good fight for Crawford because, like, listen, certain guys you go up and fight. Roy Jones went up to fight John Ruiz because it was John Ruiz. He wouldn't have went up to fight Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? Crawford went up to fight Canelo because Canelo can't move, and he's not as dangerous as you might think. Benavidez, shit, that's a Gatling gun with a wall with a Gatling gun on it. You can't move him, can't hurt him really, can't really outbox him because he trains like James Toney used to train, meaning he doesn't do a lot of bag work. He doesn't do a lot of running. He just spars as his training. So he's always sharp. His timing is always there, and he hits hard. And he's at 60 below 168 to 160. He's too dangerous. I wouldn't fight him if I was Crawford. That's dumb money. That's selling blood. You know what I mean? So I just wouldn't do that, man. But for me, I can hear what a lot of you guys are saying, and I understand. But no, he's not gonna fight Tank. He's not gonna fight any of the dream matches that you guys come up with. I think he's gonna fight guys that, like maybe one of the Charlo brothers. He might fight those guys. There's a lot of fights at 60 and 54 that he doesn't want to go back down to 54 though. But there's a lot of fights at 60 that he can entertain. And I think realistically, it's going to be guys that are in the top 10 that he thinks he can beat because he's going to make, like I said, 7 to 10 million for those fights. And then he's gonna either ride off into the sunset off of that with some money in his pocket, or he's gonna take one more big risk. And I think that big risk before he leaves will probably be Jaron Ennis if Jaron Ennis chooses in a year to jump up to 160 and face him. If that doesn't happen, who knows what they do next, man? Who knows? But I enjoyed that fight. It was much needed. Much needed. He said, ha ha ha, I seen you do the cha-cha slide. That footwork is not like that. Oh man, yo, Pat, come on down, Pat. Come on down, Pat. Let's do it. He said, I want Bud to move to 160, get a belt, sit out a year, let other champs bang it out, and then fight whoever comes out on top. That could happen, you know what I mean? He said, James Toney's the GOAT. He said, I'm 41, 240, 6'3". That don't mean a thing, man. This overhand right to make you what? How tall would you be off the ground? Like 2 feet off the ground? Meaning like you're gonna be asleep on your back. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna fall hard, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. I really do. I spar like you can Dominic Mayfield, right? He's a 6'4", 270-pound heavyweight. We spar, I spar him all the time, right? So I spar nothing but heavyweights, even though I'm not supposed to be a heavyweight at all. I was just fat as fuck, but not supposed to be up there. But I spar heavyweights, bro. I really do. He said, nah, Ennis ain't no risk. Philly bias. If you now to say Ennis ain't a risk, like no one in Philly says that Crawford ain't a risk for Ennis. We just say Ennis would be a good fight. We don't know who wins that fight. I think that Ennis is young and he can lose to Crawford, but I don't get how y'all think that Philly is biased towards Ennis. When you say everyone who likes Crawford says that Ennis just ain't a challenge at all, and that's not biased, that don't even make a lot of sense. You mean Ennis just can't do shit? He just can't even scratch you, right? That don't make sense. Come on, man. Stop it. Y'all talking crazy. He said, I love you like a fat kid loves cake, man. I'm just lighting up the room, dog. Now I'm only messing with you, man. I know you. I've known you for years. I know you ain't trying to beat my ass. And if you did, like I told you, I'll shake your hand. He said, I know you know your shit. I'm just keeping my bro on his toes, man. I like that though. I like color commentary, man. We def know who wins that. Bro said he want to make me 2 feet dancing. Everyone is a GOAT. All right, how many GOATs is it? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's move on, man. Devin Haney versus Josh Norman, man. Jr., not Josh Norman. Brian Norman. Josh Norman. See, football and boxing be merging, and I'll kill names. They be killing me for killing names, man. I say everybody's name wrong for some reason. I gotta stop saying I do that because maybe I'll stop. But that fight is the next, I think, big fight and a compelling fight. If you look at it stylistically, it's a good fight for both guys, right? I can understand why Norman would take that fight because you got Haney moving up to 47. So Norman's the bigger guy, and he's a guy that like comes forward. He's a pressure. He fights like a Mexican. He's a pressure fighter, not great footwork, but he's coming to bang. Can be damaged. He has been damaged in fights, but he's coming forward to bang. He's trying to hurt you, right? And Devin Haney is coming off of just lackluster performances in his opinion, especially the Ryan Garcia performance. And then after that, then I forget who the last guy he just fought was, but he ran for most of that fight, which I understood though, because when you look at that fight, he had Shane Mosley in his corner for the first time. I've been that guy like Shane Mosley where I'm like a consultant in the corner for you. I'm not really your trainer, but I'm just helping you tweak something, right? And it happens every time. When you do something new repetitively, right? You overdo it in the next fight because you're trying to incorporate that into your natural rhythm. So you got conscious fighting versus subconscious fighting. Your subconscious fighting is what you automatically revert to when you get hit and you get mad, you just start fighting, right? Off of instinct. But conscious fighting, you're focusing on a thing. And I think he had a hyper focus on footwork because of what happened to him in the Ryan Garcia fight. So because of that, you saw a lot of running from Haney, which made Brian Norman say, I can beat this guy, right? I don't think you'll get that version of Haney versus Brian Norman, though. You're going to get the synergistic version, meaning a guy who has a jab, who fights behind his jab and is tough and will walk you down like Devin Haney's known for doing, plus the guy who can move a little better. He's going to incorporate movement and angles a lot better when he fights Norman. And Devin Haney has one of the best jabs in the business. So if he can take angles to mitigate some of the risk, he could fight half a man, meaning stay off the center line, because Devin Haney has a problem with, he's a great boxer, but you never want to be here against a fighter. Like if me and you are fighting and you're here with me squared up, meaning we're shoulder to shoulder or solar plex to solar plex, I got to guard both hands. You don't want to have to do, nobody's good enough to do that all day. The best defensive fighters either cheat left or cheat right. So if I'm cheating right and this is your center line, I'm making your right hand, you're going to have to reach further with your right hand. And I'm smothering your left hand. So I'm going to sit on this left hand because I can anticipate what you're going to do here. And then I can see the right hand coming a mile away. So I'm really fighting half a man. That's what I mean when I say that. A lot of fighters do it, haphazardly, but they very rarely do it intentionally. The great ones do. Bernard Hopkins, Andre Ward, these guys will fight, on one. They'll fight that one side of you. They'll shade you, right? David Haney doesn't do that. He'll sit right in front of you and jab you and try to outbox you and beat your ass right there squared up with you. You got to stop doing that. So it really wasn't, I don't even know why he went and got Shane Mosley. That's not the guy to get to fix that, because it really wasn't footwork that was his problem. It's angles. He stands right in front of you. He needs to be off to the right, off center. And he doesn't do that enough, in my opinion. If he did, it would automatically, because I call this right hand dominant. So he automatically have more power on his right hand. He would automatically be further away from your right hand, and he can jab as like a rangefinder. And when he wants to throw a hard jab, he can get in his left hand dominant stance, put more weight on the left foot, and kind of transition. So now he can kind of rotate between those two styles. But like I said, he just fights square too much. Now on Brian Norman's side of things, like I said, if Devin Haney stays on that center line, all I would tell the guy to do, this is all I would do in this fight. Listen, you're going to get hit with a lot of jabs. You're going to get cut up. He's going to bust you up, probably, if you stand right in front of him, right? But what I want you to do, the way you would train is, one, I would have the kids in the gym jab at you all day. I would definitely have the guys he's sparring with, technical spar with him for a while, meaning jab at this guy all day long, to the point where it's almost impossible to hit him with a jab because he sees so many jabs coming. He sleeps and dreams about jabs coming at him, right? So we want to mitigate the jab because we know Haney's going to use it. And then we want to start, once it starts to slow down in your mind, we want you throwing, you have to feed him 10 overhand rights per round, meaning good ones. I don't care if they land, you owe me 10 per round until they start landing. And when they do, Haney will be the fuck out of here. That's what I would do. If he's standing on that center line, you don't even have to look. These are no look overhand. Just throw him and you're going to catch him. You know what I'm saying? An overhand right. Once he starts to overreact to the overhand right, then you start incorporating feints from that and throwing your left hook off of it. And I think that would be, other than the fact that you want to rough him up, that would be Norman's strategy. If he's smart, he would go after him that way. Yeah, Shadiddy X, man, definitely rip to Ricky Hatton, man. I remember that everybody came across the pond for that. But rest in peace, Ricky Hatton. While you guys are here, make sure if you want more boxing content, those of you who are joining on my normal Akoye Media page, I'm also live on Akoye Knows Boxing. So go on to YouTube, type in Akoye Knows Boxing, and you'll see my channel pop up there. And you guys need to subscribe there as well and follow me there, because I'm trying to build up that channel so that I don't mix the two genres, right? So definitely make sure you guys follow me there. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and share the content. But you know, from a point of Devin Haney versus Norman, I think that those two styles make a compelling fight for me, because Norman has a puncher's chance or has a bully's chance, meaning he can try to out physical Haney, and Haney is the pure boxer. But one thing nobody gives Haney credit for is Haney got a heart of steel. You know what I mean? When he got hit by what was it, Linares, he was done. Like he was out on his feet. Finished that fight, no problem. As bad as the Ryan Garcia fight looked, the way everybody talks about how bad it looked, right? Nobody could say he got knocked. He didn't get knocked out. He got knocked from pillar to post, but he didn't get knocked out because he got a heart. So to think that because he's the pure boxer, that he's just a guy that you could just roll over, that ain't the case. Haney is a tough kid, man. A tough young man, should I say. And that's going to be a pretty good fight. So I think him and Norman, it's a good matchup. I like the way, I like the way that matchup looks, man. Yo, brother Ahmad, man, what's good with you, man? He said, "Damn, you're nice with the boxing talk." No, I mean, I train boxers, bro. This is football. If you think I'm good at football analysis, which I know I am, I forgot more about boxing than I ever knew about football, for sure. And that's not being braggadocious. It's just I've been boxing since I was 7 years old and I'm 42. And I've been training fighters for almost 10, 15 years, somewhere in there. Yeah, 15 years. And then trained myself, and then, went to my trainer when I was like 23, and he changed my whole style. But bro said he want to make 2 feet. Dang. Akoye, you fighting southpaws, how do you move? Good question. It depends on what type of southpaw you're fighting. If you're fighting a slick southpaw, move to your right. And the reason I say move to your right, when you're moving to your right versus a southpaw, let's just say this is a southpaw's right hand. His jab is about here, right? When you're moving to your left, you are pulling your right hand away from the target. And the right hand is how you hit a southpaw, right? The reason fighters are taught, conventional fighters are always taught to move to the left, because there's this old style or old secret where whoever has the outer foot usually can go 2-way. Meaning, if I have my left foot outside your right foot, I can hit you with both hands, right? You only can hit me with pretty much one hand. You cut in half. That's true, but it should be like a typewriter, meaning you go to your right, because if I'm going to my right, his counter to that is going to be to cut me off, meaning to hustle his steps up so that he can get over to my right, right? When he does that, that automatically gives me the leverage to get outside his foot. But what most conventional fighters do is they try to out leverage him going left. But if I'm going left, he's going right. We're both going to intercept each other's front hand, and we're not going to get anywhere. We're just going to keep pawing at each other's front hand. And then it's just both of us are fighting like one-handed fighters. He's throwing straight lefts, and neither one of us want to lead, because whoever misses their lead right hand or lead left hand, the counters come back off of that. So if I throw a lead right hand at a southpaw and I miss, when I'm coming back, I got to watch myself, because when I'm coming back across, I can get hit with anything off that. If you watch Paul Williams versus Sergio Martinez, even though I think both of those guys are southpaws in that fight, but if you watch him in that fight, when he throws, he just overextends on the punch, and when he's coming back, he gets knocked silly, right? When you watch Chad Dawson versus Andre Ward, same thing. If you miss with that left, you got nothing else to come back with. If you miss with that right versus a southpaw, you got nothing else to go with. But the way I learned this style was by watching and studying Pernell Whitaker, because I was always intrigued by the fact that Pernell Whitaker's defense was anticipatory and his pivots were great, but that's not what made him great. What made Pernell Whitaker great was his jab. And I said, how's a southpaw jabbing conventional fighters? That's not supposed to happen. The way he was doing it was he was walking to his left, which is the opposite of the way a southpaw is supposed to walk. He's walking to his left because if he walks to his left against a conventional fighter, he now has room to throw that jab. And then once he throws that jab, he can now walk the direction he's supposed to and get leverage on his left hand. That's how you fight. So doing the reverse works, meaning if you want to jab a southpaw, walk to your right, and now you have an angle to shoot that jab. And now you can, when you shoot that jab, no, you don't have leverage unless he slips inside. You don't have leverage on your right hand, but now you have leverage when you come back across, right? So that's how I teach my guys. Learn how to fight going to your right, skip and L steps, L pivots to your right the whole night. If you could do that, you can jab and fight a southpaw. And it actually works against conventional fighters too, because it keeps you on the outside of their jab rather than the inside where their right hand would be. So when you see guys that can fight going to the right, you know they can really fucking box. They can't do that as a conventional fighter anyway, or a southpaw that can't go left. It's just like a guy who can't dribble with his right or left hand. I look at that and I say, oh, jump on him. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I would fight southpaw. So with that said, I'm gonna go through a couple of the questions that you have, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But he said, I'm taking the jab, moving to my left, countering off the jab, and they drop that left always. Always. Yeah, southpaw is not used to. They're not truly great defensive fighters always, right? Some of them are, like Tevin Farmer's one. Erzlandi Lara is a great defensive fighter out of the southpaw position. It's a couple guys. Chris Bird used to be pretty good defensively until he met Ika Beyabuchi. Yeah, so there's guys who Pernell Whitaker, like I said before, there's guys who definitely have great defense out of the southpaw position, but most southpaws have the luxury of not having to really learn defense because they have that angle advantage. And when you see those guys, you can always tell a southpaw that isn't as great as you would think when they fight another southpaw that can really fight, right? I'm one of those guys who thinks that Shakur Stevens is good, but not great. When you watch him fight De Los Santos is a southpaw as well, but he can hit. He ran that entire fight because he didn't have an angle advantage against another southpaw. When you watch Errol Spence, he was supposed to be great until he met Crawford, who knows how to fight as a southpaw a lot better, right? And then he's like, oh, you're just regular. And everybody's like, oh, he wasn't the same. He was the same. He just finally met somebody that was an actual southpaw that can really fight. So that's always been my adage. Like, I don't trust the southpaw's skill set until they see another one or until they see a fighter that can fight as a southpaw. Watch Antonio Tarver versus Bernard Hopkins. Like, that's the style that I'm talking about. Watch Ward versus Chad Dawson. That's the style I'm talking about. When you fight a guy that knows how to fight that way and you're a southpaw and you can win or you can dominate, then I trust your skill set. But until then, you can hide and have a whole career and never really meet that type of fighter, especially in today's boxing. They don't teach it anymore. They don't know. But I'm gonna say it one more time, man. Make sure you guys go out to Akoye Knows Boxing and on YouTube, and you'll see my channel. Follow, like, subscribe, share it, do what you do, and make sure you guys tune into the next episode. I'm here Tuesdays and Saturdays for right now. But we'll figure out what time and we're going to move forward. But you guys know that I house homeless vets, so sometimes even that phone call right now is actually perfect timing. But sometimes I have all hands on deck because some of them are suffering from PTSD, so I had to jump up and run back to the city, things like that. So if I'm a little flexible with the time, I ask you to be graceful with me and merciful with me because I'm trying to bring you two different genres here. So I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Everybody who got their question answered, just know, like, look, man, neither one of these pages is monetized. So all I'm asking for support is a like, a subscribe, or a share. But definitely thank you for tuning in to Akoye Knows Boxing, man. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. We out.